Edrise Masoné's reality show. The people with reality shows, Georgina Rodriguez, who helps Cristiano Ronaldo with his 5 children, Kris Jenner of the Kardashians, Bing Tracy, who I met Tracy, she went to Cuba too. There's Tracy in Mr. Bat Mason's office. He has a charity called Changing Lives. The Kardashians are having one episode where somebody is real scary. Must be Kim. And then the mother likes the kind of ambience of that place. I wonder if that's her house. I don't know. Well, the Rick's Games is scary for me. You know, you have the G7, you have the G20, you have the Olympic Games, and then we got the Invictus Games, and now we have the BRICS Games. So being so separate and defining the separateness is kind of scary. So I'm back in coding class. I was trying another coding class with some HTML. But I got some mentoring certificates. They're good for mentoring and consulting. I was at FAU for 10 years in evening classes. Then I graduated 2009. I really want to get out of here. I actually applied for the ideal job today. It's perfect because of my work experience. We'll see if I get that job. I'm targeting 2 Fortune 500 companies where I want to work. I'm struggling with something. And that image over there, it's the weirdest thing, but I guess it's the AI and Google. Whenever you get something in your mind, you can always find an image which reflects exactly how you feel. So I'm contending strenuously against people who speak like Satan, I guess, and people who have Satan's ideas. Anyway, I want to align myself with the universe, AI, coding, and the future of 2 Fortune 500 companies where I want to work. So I found this online. She's not out here sharing herself with anybody and everybody just so she can feel wanted. That's a thing. Some people, mental illness is really, really strange. I started looking at it because Harvard Business Review had it. Talk about everybody was grieving after COVID, and then the Jehovah's Witnesses had a magazine about mental illness. But women do share themselves so that they can feel wanted. That's a good point. But it says instead we shouldn't do that. We should be matching energy. And you can match your energy, your education, and everything with a Fortune 500 company. I worked for Walgreens for 5 years. That's while I was going to FAU, and Walgreens means so much to me. So Meghan Markle said, you know, she was in an expensive school. If you don't like something, tell the right people. You will help a lot of other people. Analyze that. I do not like it. How do they do that? Well, I found this spiritual hygiene. I shared it with my sister in New York. Don't get a used mirror. Don't get salt from somebody else's table. Get untouched salt. Don't get a used mattress. Don't get a used wallet. And don't get a used lock. I had kindness this session, and I'm doing a video series called A Little Kindness Can Change the World. And Boca Raton Plaza Hotel is where I get vanilla coffee in the morning. That's the kindness. But I gave the lady from Trinidad, every week I try to bring her something. And that's the tiki bar down there. I like the plants going down there. A lot of them are the kind of plants my mom has in her yard. And this is the hideaway. When I get my career together, I'm going to have bacon, eggs, and grits at the hideaway with 3 friends. And that's Mr. Bat Mason again. I had him before, and here he is again. He has a charity called Changing Lives, and his wife, they're from Boston. And Changing Lives really is the only place I worship. I don't go to the Jehovah's Witness Kingdom Hall, and I don't go to Woke Up Community Church anymore. And so, because they're kind to me at Boca Raton Plaza Hotel, I volunteer as a hostess Saturday morning. I like doing that. So I just spoke to a Chinese student here at FAU. She says they don't kowtow anymore. Chinese do not kowtow anymore. But you know, the internet says that kowtowing is dignity and courtesy. So you greet people by bowing like that. But the Koreans and the Japanese still bow, because I know 2 Koreans, I see them every Saturday. So this video is for my sons who suffered most of their lives and were killed. And that's my son safe in Jamaica, in my mother's house. My mother's house is across the street from the elementary school. So I used to climb the fence, CBS fence, and put my foot in the decoration and climb over, go to school. And my son was safe and happy. There he is with his great-grandmother and my mother, his grandmother. And my son's now dead, and I'm trying to go to court about it, but I have so many rogue police helping my ex-husband, but people don't understand that, like in the O.J. Simpson case, it's the same thing. You have gangs of police who hate women, who do things. So 2 of these 3 boys were gifted. My son, when he was 6 years old, he was tested at Hagen Ranch Elementary School, and he went in the gifted program. He did not have a judge. My ex-husband did not allow us to go to a judge in the divorce. He basically stole what he needed of our assets after 13 years and had a physical fight with me and had me sign a document. So he took 3 units, and then he proceeded to abuse my children. My son had to wake up before school and take care of the dogs, and they had to clean for the second wife. But when you see people isolating you, you have to be careful, because you just never know. You don't trust anyone. You never know when you need to have a support system. So my son and I were not able to tell a judge that he tested gifted at 6 and I've been working since 17. Because it's simple. The judge would have said, go to work, come back in a few weeks, let me see how you're handling the mortgage. He would not have taken my son out of his gifted class at Hagen Ranch Elementary School. This is my family at Christmas. And this is a very important slide because we need to build awareness. And 2 out of 4 of these girls was raised without their mothers in Jamaica. It's very important to know that these 2 girls are very successful. This one has 2 master's degrees. She's married to a judge. This one has a PhD. And they went to school in Jamaica without their mothers. Their mothers used to come down to Jamaica and visit them. This one went to the Catholic school for girls, and this one went to the Anglican Coit school. But that's the Denton family, and we're interdependent. So we just made arrangements for our children to be safe. And I should have made the same arrangement for my son. But I always assumed that Jehovah's Witnesses and my ex-husband would not cause my children to be hurt. So this is my family Christmas dinner. We had it once a year, and we had friends of the family. We were a close, synergistic family. I cannot begin to tell you of the day-to-day issues in the USA and everything I've lost. But looking at this little tyke, my father had 6 girls, so when that boy came along and that boy looked like my dad, who's Cuban, it had some sort of significance, but I guess I wasn't thinking because the Jehovah's Witnesses had been in my mind since I was 10 years old, but I should have given him to my dad and say, he looks like you, put him in that school across the street so that he can go through that program. The principal at the school across the street, her daughter is the first female PhD in engineering. She has a space company, she has a nonprofit, and she has a Caribbean studies nonprofit. So I want to show some gratitude for Florida Atlantic University. The 10 years that I attended FAU and graduated, I worked and went to FAU evening classes. I even had a professor from Siemens. And today I'm in the computer lab at FAU making this video. I make these videos for my sons, and I'm grateful to FAU. I want to heal before I die. I want to show gratitude for these 2 guys. He's a PhD from Jamaica, and he's now the director for Changing Lives. And he's a realtor for Investments Limited. And they were at the Juneteenth festival. They gave the African Americans a second holiday. They had Martin Luther King Day, now they have Juneteenth. So I guess they feel like they owe the African Americans as slaves something. But what do they owe me for the suffering and death of my sons is the question that I will answer in court. However, I try to analyze things. So when I was at the Juneteenth thing, I saw these beautiful girls. They look like models, so I took pictures of them. I said to myself, oh, they're so pretty. I noticed they're pretty. I believe that white people allow African Americans to do a certain amount of damage because they're so beautiful. Anyway, back to Tracy being Tracy. She was in Cuba, and so I saw the videos of Cuba for my Father's Day. My dad's dead, but for my Father's Day present, I was able to know more about Cuba. There was a concert on the top floor. There's a restaurant on the top floor in Cuba. And these are the notes I took from the slide about Cuba, about the embargo and its results on economic development in Cuba, or the lack of it. Since 1958, they were stuck with those cars, and China and Russia had to give them parts for those cars because they maintain them in very good condition. These are some very bad pictures in Cuba, but I'll get better equipment soon. It took 57 years to get over the Jehovah's Witness organization coming to my parents' house in 1967. They invaded Jamaica, a big white man and a white woman, and the Jackson 5. It took 23 years to get over my son's accident. It took 18 years to get over being bullied out of my municipal job with the city of Delray Beach. It took 10 years to get over losing my condo and my house, both properties. Nobody helped me pack up. I packed up every paperclip, every safety pin all by myself. And because of that, I realized that the only person I could have ever trusted in my life was my son. And I couldn't keep him alive. Obviously, I couldn't trust anybody else, as nobody assisted me in packing up these houses. I say no to the wrong people and wrong situations. Not my family. I say no. No is no, not my family. Do not allow your right brain to hurt you. Elon Musk has a lot of videos, and we see his success with Tesla cars and Tesla solar batteries. He says, go deep into the underlying principles. So what happened is, I call it the school of Elon Musk. So the underlying principles of the Jehovah's Witness, I try to follow up on them. And the underlying principles which my ex-husband used to destroy me and my children. Like, look at them. I'm not your China doll. I'm not docile, obedient, not submissive. Here is the school of Elon Musk again. He said freedom of speech costs him $2 billion a year. He made a video that said, I'll say what I want to say. Another thing he said is that you have to turn complex concepts into words. And everything that went on in my life with the Jehovah's Witnesses, up to the point where my ex-husband did not go to court, and the consequences and the death of my 2 sons, and then the peeling of my government job, my properties and everything. That's a complex concept. It's not the Hunger Games. I call it the Pray Code. So I turn it into words. A complex concept right now is that Russia is in the Black Sea. No, well, Russia shot down, I guess it was a drone, so it's not important. Nobody was in it. Shot down in the Black Sea. And this is BRICS. And for me, BRICS is a complex concept. But I believe that it might provide more equity in the world as far as trade. And another complex concept is that the World Trade Center is no longer called World Trade Center. It's called One World Trade Center. So this NBC reporter went to Putin and she said she's not afraid of him. He's strategic. So that's a compliment. So a complex concept about the Jehovah's Witnesses is a matter of control. So I'm going to go backwards with the control. The top control was when the Jehovah's Witnesses sold this building for $340 million to the Kushners when Trump was president, because they got control with political alignment. Then they put their accounting on Facebook, and Marilyn Herman was complaining about it. But they are obviously monetizing everything. So they control funds and bank accounts. And they putting it on Facebook to let you see where they are lying and what they control. Well, they even built a Kingdom Hall in my mother's neighborhood in Jamaica. And I assisted them to build a Kingdom Hall because they have 20 quick build supervisors and 200 volunteers, even children. I did installation on a Kingdom Hall in Lake Worth. So they control $23 billion in land and buildings all over the world. And they control millions of people. And the organization actually keeps the name of each and every person who is baptized in the organization. So that's the ultimate control. And this is what their assemblies look like. The next control is the way a man can control his wife and children to the point where they don't go to a divorce court and a judge doesn't make a decision which keeps the wife and children safe. And that's something to think about. So now that I've established that the only person that I could ever trust was my first child and that he was safe in Jamaica, I'm dedicating this poem to the Jehovah's Witnesses, 23 billion in land and buildings, their global building project. And the city of Delray Beach, I was bullied out of the city of Delray Beach code enforcement. They didn't know that I had a history in government of Jamaica, European Union, and the state. So they had a master plan for gentrification 2 blocks north and 2 blocks south of Atlantic Avenue in Delray Beach, and they monetize and bring a lot of tourists in. So here's my poem for Jehovah's Witnesses and the city of Delray Beach. Build and kill, build free killed, build and killed, build and kill, build kill. Kill and build, killed and build, kill and build, Kill, pay bill, kill bill. American hunter-gatherers invaded Jamaica 1967. This is where my parents live. This is where the airport is. I went to the airport when the Jackson 5 came. But the fact that a big white man came first, my dad chased him away. My dad was a Cuban fighter and a mechanic in the Royal Air Force, and he didn't want to hear what the man had to say. Then a white woman came, and I wanted to read her magazines. The Awake magazine is like Reader's Digest. Then the Jackson 5 came. I remember I was at the airport. Our airport is pretty small compared to the American airport. The Jackson 5, they were sitting on a bench, and they looked so tired. They came like 1 in the morning so that they wouldn't have the press. When the limousine came, there were some girls screaming. I remember some of them were Chinese girls. Anyway, so my cousin, the one who got the PhD, she went to the Kingdom Hall with them, and she was at their hotel. I was at the concert and the airport, and I was a Jordan for 30 years, but when my ex-husband did not do the right thing and destroyed his wife and kids, I got a PhD. The FAU gave me a free PhD to speak to, and the City of Delray Beach also gave me a free therapist to speak to. However, I was only 10 years old, and I brought the enemy into my family. That's what happened in 1967. I call this the time they invaded Jamaica because they have so many buildings in Jamaica that belong to the Jehovah's Witnesses now. And every country that they're in, it totals 23 billion in land and buildings. Sometimes I get a deep sinking feeling when I realize that perhaps the only person that I could trust, I was not able to keep him alive. This is him at my relative's house. They had this really gaudy furniture, but I just remember him, and that picture just reminds me of babies are so tolerant, you know. And then when I look at his face here, I see the innocence. It gives me a deep sinking feeling. When they say Black Lives Matter and time done, I'm trying to go to the international court because I want to set a precedent regarding crimes against women and children. I want to retire happily. That's a life project.